Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome back. I'm Fuzz, and today I've got a couple new chunky boxes that I'm really excited about sharing with you guys. I got a pair of David Cronenberg films, newly released on 4K last week from Second Sight Films, and of course Second Sight gave it the Royal limited edition box set treatment, which I always appreciate from Second Sight. As far as I'm concerned, Second Sight makes some of the best collectible editions out there on the market. So today we're talking about Scanners from 1981 and then also The Brood from 1979. So I'll be giving you my thoughts on both of these releases and showing you everything that's included with them. And then later on in the video, I also want to just talk about my Cronenberg collection in general, show you guys my limited Cronenberg collection, show you guys what I have, and talk about where I hope to be headed with my Cronenberg collection in the not too distant future. By the way, it's worth noting that if you're not a big fan of like collectible editions like this and the collectible packaging, Second Sight also does have a standard edition 4K release for each of these, right? Just a no fancy packaging, no box set, just a standard black 4K Amaray case. So if you want to get that version and save a few bucks, that is out there as well. But I'm a big fan of the chunk. Right, I love these kind of editions, so I always go with these when it's a film I care about. I always go with these whenever possible. Now, keep in mind, these are UK only releases. They're imports if you're here in the US. I bought my copies from Orbit DVD. I think Diabolic DVD also has them. I usually go to one of those two places for European imports. But I believe you can just order from Second Sight directly if you prefer. I think the shipping's kind of high, but if you want to go that route, you can do that. Now, Cronenberg is another one of these directors that for me personally, I was kind of a late bloomer on. I didn't really start getting into his work and appreciating his work until just the last few years. I mean, I had seen a few Cronenberg movies, but they were really his more conventional movies, like History of Violence and The Dead Zone and like Eastern Promises. I think those are, up until a few years ago, I think those were the only three Cronenberg movies I had ever seen. I had never even seen any of his like body horror movies. I'd never even seen The Fly at that point. I mean, I've of course since seen The Fly, and I watched that a few years ago for the first time. But prior to that, I had just never seen any of his movies that would be considered more, wild and out there. Well, that all changed for me a few years ago when I watched Scanners for the first time, and I just totally fell in love with that movie. I thought it was awesome, and it made me definitely want to check out other Cronenberg films. I also watched The Fly around that time, around the same time as well. And from that point forward, I found myself very intrigued by Cronenberg's work. And the funny thing about Cronenberg for me is I'm not even necessarily the biggest fan of body horror. Right? I mean, I love horror, like the horror genre as a whole, and there are lots of horror subgenres that I really dig. But there are a few horror subgenres that I'm just not really into, and body horror typically tends to be one of those subgenres. But that's not really the case when it comes to Cronenberg for me. I find I'm able to tolerate the body horror elements a lot more when it's a Cronenberg film than I ordinarily would. And it's because Cronenberg's films are so damn fascinating. They are super compelling to watch. And, I go into these films blind, and I'm always extremely intrigued by where the story's going. I get sucked in right away. And then I love seeing all the twists and turns he takes in his stories and where his twisted mind goes. I think that's what it is. With Cronenberg's movies, his stories can be so twisted that you just never know what you're going to get with him. You know you're going to get something really out there and sometimes even a little shocking, but you never know exactly what that's going to be or what that's going to look like. And with Cronenberg's unique brand of body horror, I always know that even though there may be moments in like some of his films that I personally find kind of hard to watch, just, due to them being, really graphic or explicit or just otherwise out there and really twisted like Cronenberg is known for, I find that I'm not really bothered by those moments because his stories are so fascinating and so interesting. So whenever I'm watching a Cronenberg movie for the first time, I find myself getting pulled into the movie immediately, and I just find it super intriguing to watch his stories unfold. They're just really entertaining films. All right, so let's get into this here and talk about these awesome new chunky boxes. Are you guys ready? All right, let's rock this. All right, so let's talk about scanners first. And first thing I want to do is kind of go over the actual edition, all the packaging and stuff. I love the artwork on this. I think the artwork is awesome. I love how you got Cameron there with the flames doing his thing. And the best part about the art is actually on the back. You do get the exploding head. How cool is that? I love that. When I saw that, I was like, that is awesome. So yeah, I'm really happy with the artwork on this. You know, to start, it's cool. Very cool job they did with the art. So let's open this up and take a look here. The first thing I'll show the disc here. I'll get my J card out of there. You get 2 discs there. Okay, 4K and Blu-ray disc. The Blu-ray's region B, but everything is included on the 4K disc, including the special features, right? So each disc is like a duplicate of each other, just one for Blu-ray and one for 4K. So you're not going to miss anything if you don't have a multi-region Blu-ray player and you're here in the US. You're not going to miss anything on that Blu-ray. Everything that's on that Blu-ray is also on the 4K disc. So, but show you the artwork on that. Pretty cool. And I like the artwork on the interior digipack here, but the outer box set artwork is what really did it for me. So really dug that. I'll go ahead and show you the art cards here. I haven't even taken these off yet. So I'm actually taking the band off for the first time here. So just for you guys, just for you. I normally don't even take the art cards out of these things. I don't do anything with them, but because I'm doing this video for you guys, I thought you might like to see them. So I'll make it quick here. Some people don't like to see the art cards. Of course, we got our exploding head, like the back there. And, you know, it's kind of more of the same. The art cards are basically the outer and interior artwork. So that's kind of cool, right? All right. And you get that as well. So those last two are kind of trippy. So pretty cool. You know, I'm not a big art card guy, to be honest. I don't really care about the art cards. I'm actually more interested in the book that comes with the box set. And I'm never good at doing this. So I'll try and just kind of flip through it there just to give you an idea. But you got... you know, you got essays in there, lots of essays, and it's over 100 pages. I think it's like 115 pages, 120 pages, something like that. You know, you get lots of pictures and writing and stuff, so I haven't had a chance to read any of that, but I will be checking out the book at some point. I do like sometimes reading some of the books. I never read them all the way through, but I do sometimes kind of browse through them and skim through them a little bit and read certain passages and whatnot. So I appreciate having the book. And then, of course, it's all contained in the nice rigid slipcase here. Get our knock test there to make sure it's nice and hard. Now, as for the restoration, I thought it looked amazing. I thought it was fantastic looking. I have the Criterion Blu-ray from, I think it's about 7 years ago is when this Blu-ray came out. And if I'm being fair, even the Criterion Blu-ray looked really good. I mean, Criterion did a pretty good job with this film, so I don't want to throw any shade their way. I mean, this is a decent Blu-ray. If you're not someone who's gotten into 4K yet and you like this film but you don't have it yet, getting this Criterion Blu-ray is not a bad thing. However, I wanted to upgrade it because I love this film, and it's, you know, I think as of right now, it's probably my favorite Cronenberg film as of right now. I mean, there's a lot of films of his I still need to see, but of the movies I've seen, yeah, this one is my favorite as of right now. But even though this Criterion Blu-ray does look good for what it is, I definitely noticed an upgrade on 4K. The picture looks fantastic. It really is a stunning looking image. You do get a lot of vibrancy to the image, and the colors look amazing. So much pop to the colors, the practical effects and like look incredible. The level of detail and richness and like I said, vibrancy, just the overall depth to the image. There's so much more depth to the image here compared to the Criterion Blu-ray. So I'm really glad that I upgraded this one to 4K. I don't feel like it was a disappointment at all. I was really pleased with how the transfer came out on this. This restoration does have a very filmic look. You do get a nice kind of light layer of grain, but it's nothing that's like too distracting. For those of you who don't like grain very much, I wouldn't say the grain structure is too heavy or anything like that. It's just enough to give it that nice filmic, cinematic look that we like. But it's the practical effects where this film really shines on 4K. I mean, you can see every little detail, and it's just awesome. So for those who are thinking about upgrading this to 4K from Blu-ray, I don't think they'll be disappointed. At least I certainly wasn't. I was really happy with how this came out. As for the special features, that's actually another reason someone might want to upgrade to 4K, because you do get a bunch of new special features, or at least that's how it appears when I was looking at my Criterion Blu-ray. Totally different special features. Yeah, you get a bunch of new interviews on this, including what appears to be a fairly recent interview with Michael Ironside, and it's like a 30-minute interview. And then you also get an interview with Stephen Lack as well. I think it's like 20-25 minutes, but there are quite a few standalone interviews on this. You don't get like a cool like feature-length making of documentary or anything like that, but you do get a bunch of cool interviews. And one thing I will say I like about Second Sight and their special features is the way they do their standalone interviews. Personally, I'm usually kind of bored by just standalone interviews, but the way Second Sight does them, they actually make them very appealing and very watchable. You know, they produce them really well. They don't just put like a camera on someone and you're just watching that dude talk the whole time. No, they'll like intersperse clips of the film and still frame images and all kinds of stuff in there to kind of make it like a little show, right? To make it like a little featurette. It's not just an interview clip where some dude starts talking and that's all you see. Like they try to make the whole interview visually appealing to whoever's watching. You know, they'll put like a little title card in there as well and give the interview a name and make it like a little program, right? So their standalone interview segments are really well produced, and I got to give Second Sight kudos to that, because you know, they could just, you know, half-assed it, but they actually make an effort to try to make those standalone interviews as appealing as they can be, and yeah, I really appreciate that. Anyway, I haven't had a chance to go through all the interviews yet and all the special features. I don't usually spend a lot of time with the standalone interviews, but I did pop on the Stephen Lack and Michael Ironside interviews for a few minutes and watched a little bit of those, and they were cool. It was interesting, and I'll have to go back and watch the rest of them later. But I just wanted to get a feel for how they looked and what we got and how new they were and that kind of thing. Now, with the Criterion Blu-ray of this, yeah, you get different special features. This does have what appears to be a documentary. I've never watched the special features on this, so I've owned it for a few years now, but I've just never gotten around to watching the special features. But the Criterion Blu-ray does have something called The Scanner's Way, which is a 2014 documentary on the special effects, right? So it's not like a total documentary of the film, it's just a documentary on the special effects. And then there are some older interviews with Stephen Lack and Michael Ironside, and I think one from Cronenberg as well. So, you know, you do get a completely different set of special features on this Criterion, this old Criterion Blu-ray, compared to what you get on the new Second Sight release. So I definitely got to hand it to Second Sight. They gave us a whole bunch of new special features. So if you're looking to upgrade, the special features on this might be an incentive to do so. And you do get like a couple commentary tracks as well. There's some other stuff on here as well. It's not just standalone interviews, but it's mostly standalone interviews. All right, so if I had to give Scanners a fuzz score, I would probably give it about an 8.5 out of 10. That sounds about right to me. I mean, it might even be like a 9 out of 10, but I think I'm going to stick with 8.5. And the main reason for that is because there's no like retrospective or making of documentary included in the special features. That's something that can always throw a release over the top or get something a higher score for me. But this is an excellent release. 8.5 is a great score. And yeah, fantastic release. I'm really happy that Second Sight gave us these cool chunky box editions. And, you know, the 4K restoration looks amazing to boot. So if you're a fan of this film, I don't think you'll be disappointed with this release. I just love this release. I thought Second Sight did a great job with it. So yeah, Scanners. By the way, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, do me a favor and please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you do, don't forget to activate that notification bell as well so you can be alerted whenever I'm posting videos that you might dig. And also don't forget to like the video as well. It sounds like a tiny thing, but believe it or not, it really does help with the algorithm and the channel's visibility on YouTube. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. All right, next up we've got The Brood here, and let's take a look at the artwork here. You got, of course, another chunky box. This one almost seems like it's slightly thicker, ever so slightly thicker than the Scanners box, but yeah, you got your stuff in there. There's the back cover. I like the back cover art on that. I think that's a pretty cool image for the back. I don't know how I feel about the front cover art. I don't like the art on this one as much as the art on Scanners. I thought the Scanners art was better. You know, I don't know what I necessarily would have included on the front cover instead of this, so it's not like I'm full of ideas here, but I'm just not sure how I feel about that as the front cover. I don't mind the back. I think the back looks pretty cool. But either way, this was a first-time watch for me. This was a blind buy. I had never seen this film. Unlike Scanners, that I'm a big fan of, and I'd seen it a number of times now, The Brood was a first-time watch. And boy, was this a twisted film. But I gotta say, I loved it. I thought it was really good. It's definitely out there, and there's some pretty hardcore stuff later on in the film, especially. But man, what a wild ride. This was really entertaining, and I was locked in the whole way. So I really enjoyed this one. All right, so let's look at the packaging here. Take everything out here. First off, the Digipack, and I actually like the artwork on the interior. That's pretty cool. And yeah, that's cool looking. That's not bad, you know. But there's our Digipack. Same deal with Scanners. You get a 4K disc and a Blu-ray disc. The Blu-ray is region B, but all of the special features, everything is included on the 4K disc. So you're not going to miss out on anything if you're not able to view the Blu-ray, right? Everything is included on the 4K disc as well. And of course, like I did with Scanners, let's take a look at these art cards here. Pull the ribbon off there, the paper ribbon, all right? I assume it's mostly just the same stuff that we see elsewhere on the release, like with Scanners. But yeah, cool stuff. You know, again, I don't really care that much about art cards, but there we go. That's pretty cool. I like that. And that's pretty cool as well. Yeah, so, you know, art cards are whatever. You know, I guess it's cool that they're in there. It's nice to have them if they're going to put them in there, but of all the things that come in these limited edition box sets, the art cards are the thing I care about the least. Then, of course, you get the nice big book here, which I will try to do this again. There's the front and there's the back. Okay, let's see what we got here. This is always so hard for me to do. Your cast, again, essays, lots of text, right? Lots of essays there. But cool stuff. Oh, let's see, flip through a little bit more here. See if there's anything else interesting in there. I'll just leave it at that, I think. But you get the idea. Again, it's like, I think it's over 120 pages on the book. So it's a pretty meaty book to sink your teeth into. So yeah, cool packaging, you know, like with Scanners and pretty much every other Second Sight limited edition box set. Their box sets are awesome. I love their box sets. So I was happy to pick this one up, even though it was a blind buy. No regrets at all. I guess it helps that I ended up really liking the movie. So, you know, I guess if I didn't like the movie, I might be singing a little bit of a different tune, but I don't usually commit to something like this on a blind buy unless I have a pretty strong indication that I'm going to like the movie. So I went into it, you know, feeling pretty good about it, and I wasn't disappointed. Now, as for the restoration, I would say it's probably comparable to Scanners. Now, I've never seen this film before, so I can't speak to previous Blu-ray releases of this movie. I don't know how much of an upgrade it is, but yeah, I thought it was a really solid-looking restoration. Lots of depth and presence to the image, lots of pop to the colors. The colors looked really good. Again, I've never seen it before, so I have nothing to compare it to, but everything I saw in this, it was a solid-looking image. I would maybe say, I don't know, maybe the Scanners restoration was maybe just a tad bit better. I might maybe give the Scanners restoration the edge, but I mean, that could just be to differences in the way the films were made, Scanners looks fantastic on 4K, but this one looks pretty damn good as well. So I have no complaints over how this came out on 4K. I thought it looked really good for what it is. I'd probably give the edge to Scanners, but still, I mean, I'd say the restorations are probably pretty comparable. So if you're someone who thought the 4K restoration of Scanners looked really good, then you're probably going to think this one looks really good as well. I mean, I have to assume with both The Brood and also with Scanners as well, that these 4K restorations are the best these films have ever looked on home media. I can certainly verify that with Scanners. I may not know how much of an upgrade The Brood is from Blu-ray, but I can tell you both of these looked amazing on 4K. As for the special features, very similar situation here to Scanners. It's mostly just standalone interviews that were well produced by Second Sight, but they are just standalone interviews. Primarily, there is like a video essay in here as well, and of course you get some commentary tracks as well. But aside from that, it's mostly standalone interviews for special features. I haven't had a chance to check any of these out yet. I'm sure I'll check out a couple of the interviews at some point, but yeah, just didn't have time to do that before making this video. But it does look like there are maybe some new special features and some new interviews. So I have to assume that's a bonus. Again, never having owned this before on like a previous Blu-ray or anything, I've never seen previous special features, so I don't know. But it looks like most of this stuff is like fairly new stuff, as was the case with Scanners. All right, so if I had to give this one a fuzz score, I would probably rate it a little lower than Scanners. I would give this probably about an 8 out of 10. I think that sounds about right. Again, excellent release. 8 out of 10 is a really good score for me as far as I'm concerned. The reason I rank it just a tad, like a half point lower than Scanners, is because I like the artwork on Scanners a little bit more. I appreciated this artwork a little bit more than on The Brood. And once again, no feature-length making of documentary or retrospective or anything like that. So I dock it a little bit for not including something like that. But this is a fantastic release for what it is. And if you're a fan of this film and you were thinking about upgrading it to 4K, I'm sure you won't be disappointed in this gorgeous Second Sight Films release. So I would definitely recommend this title if you're a fan of this film. If you're a fan of Cronenberg, highly recommend this title along with Scanners. Both of these are highly recommended titles for 4K. If you're a fan of Cronenberg and you were thinking about upgrading them to 4K, I don't think you can go wrong picking up these bad boys on 4K. Okay, so now I just want to spend a couple minutes on my Cronenberg collection in general, which is actually quite small. I don't have a massive Cronenberg collection. I've been kind of slowly but surely wading into the Cronenberg pool and adding titles to my collection bit by bit. So I don't have a whole lot of Cronenberg in my collection yet, but I'm hoping to change that in the not too distant future. I mean, to be fair, I've probably only seen maybe less than 10 David Cronenberg films. And I think he's got over 20. I think he's got like 22, 23 movies or something like that. And I've seen like less than 10, like maybe 8 or 9 of them. So, I still very much consider myself a Cronenberg newbie, right? I have a lot to learn and a lot to explore with his work still. But I will say, one of the reasons I was so excited about getting Scanners and The Brood in these limited edition box sets is because I have a couple of other Cronenberg chunky boxes as well. And so I'm starting to notice this pattern emerging here. So I got Videodrome from Arrow Video. This is the UK only release from Arrow Video. They did not release this here in the States. I believe Criterion got the license for Videodrome in the US, but I definitely like this Arrow version. Well, I assume that I would like the Arrow version more because of the packaging, right? And of course, I love Arrow's restorations. They always do a great job, and this looks fantastic on 4K. But cool little chunky box there from Arrow Video, Videodrome, excellent release. I also have the Vinegar Syndrome release. It's not too chunky, but it's still a rigid hard box, and I'm talking about Existenz, another great looking 4K. So, you know, I have these two Cronenberg films on 4K. These are the other two Cronenberg films I have on 4K. And so after having these on 4K, then to turn around and see that Scanners and The Brood were getting 4K releases in chunky boxes, oh, I was super excited. And so I'm starting to notice, you know, the collection is coming along nicely. If you get the chunky box action, you get all that stuff going. That looks really cool on the shelf, right? I love that kind of stuff. I have a couple other Cronenberg films that I mentioned briefly, A History of Violence on Blu-ray, and then The Dead Zone on Blu-ray. I never upgraded this to 4K because, well, for one thing, when I bought this Blu-ray, it was about a month before the 4K release from Screen Factory was announced. So I had just purchased this when they announced that it was coming to 4K. So I wasn't like in any hurry to go and turn around and buy the 4K a few months later. And I wasn't even sure if I needed it on 4K, to be honest. I wasn't sure if I wanted it on 4K. Now I definitely know that I want it on 4K. But now I think I'm going to hold off and see if maybe we get either an Arrow Video or a Second Sight chunky box release of The Dead Zone in the UK. Because that I've noticed that pattern emerging. Sometimes what gets released by either, you know, Scream or Shout Factory or Kino Lorber or Criterion here in the US often will get released by Arrow Video or Second Sight Films in the UK. The same films, that is. So I've got it in my mind that there's a very good possibility that we could be getting a cool 4K release of The Dead Zone from Arrow or Second Sight, and who knows, it might not even be a chunky box, but if there is an Arrow or Second Sight release of this film, I would definitely prefer to buy that over the Scream Factory release, just because I'm a big fan of the work that Arrow and Second Sight do. I mean, I'm sure the Scream Factory release looks awesome. I've heard that it is a fantastic looking 4K, and so if we never get a better version from Arrow or from Second Sight, then I would probably go ahead and buy that Scream Factory release. And when I say better version, what I mean is better packaging specifically, right? Because Arrow and Second Sight, they always have much better packaging than you're going to get with Scream Factory or Shout Studios. So this is one I'm hoping to get on 4K, and I'm hoping we get a chunky box at some point in the future. And that's really it. That's all I have for Cronenberg right now. Now, I do plan to pick up Eastern Promises on 4K. I know that has a 4K release. You're probably wondering why I don't own The Fly. It's because I'm waiting for a 4K release of that as well. I've seen that Scream Factory box set out there of the Fly movies, but I always held off on it because, well, for one thing, I only care about the first film, the Cronenberg film, right? I don't care about any sequels. But the other thing is, I assume that we're probably going to get a 4K of The Fly at some point. I can't imagine we wouldn't. Right? I mean, we got all these other Cronenberg films coming out on 4K. I would assume that it's only a matter of time before we get The Fly in 4K as well. And so I've kind of been holding off for that, hoping that we might get like a Vinegar Syndrome release of The Fly. I mean, they did release Existenz here in the US, but I don't care who it comes from, as long as we get it at some point. I definitely want to get The Fly in 4K. We need that released. That needs to be a priority. Whoever's got the license for that, they really should make that a priority and get that sucker out on 4K. So I've got a few more Cronenberg titles there that I'd like to add to my collection in 4K if possible. But beyond those, I'm not really sure where to go next with my Cronenberg collection. I definitely want to see more of his movies that I haven't seen before. Because, you know, he's got a lot of movies out there I haven't seen. I haven't seen Shivers. Shivers? Is that what it's called? Or Shiver? Singular or plural? I can't remember. I haven't seen Rabid. I was thinking about picking up Rabid. Have you guys seen that one? And if so, what are your thoughts on that? In fact, if you're a Cronenberg fan and you've got some tips for me on films that I might want to check out, I would absolutely love to hear them. If you've got some recommendations of Cronenberg films that I haven't seen yet, yeah, I definitely want to see those recommendations because I'm trying to figure out where to go next with his movies and I'm not sure where to go. So yeah, I'm looking for pointers here. I'm not sure if I want to see Crimes of the Future, the whatever 2022 version. That seems like it might be a bit much for me, for even me on the body horror front. But I don't know. What do you guys think? What are your favorite Cronenberg films, and which ones would you guys recommend beyond the ones that I've talked about here today? Okay, so that about wraps it up for my my thoughts on the latest Second Sight limited edition box set releases of Scanners and The Brood. Let me know what you think of this video in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of Cronenberg. And again, if you're a Cronenberg fan and you've got some recommendations, some titles that you think I might like, that I might want to check out, make sure you leave me that feedback down in the comments below. I always love chatting with you guys and interacting with you guys, so be sure to leave me some feedback. Also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Thank you so much for watching today, guys. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you soon.